I'm in Detroit this week to drive the all-new 2024 Chevy Equinox EV. In fact, there's one of those right here, and then there's another one, well, right there. So what I'd like to do now is take you on a tour of the exterior design of this all-new compact electric crossover SUV. Let's go.
MOTROLIX.
So the first thing that you'll notice about this vehicle is the design. The design language here really iterates Chevy's current existing design language, and not only iterates it, but I think really revolutionizes it, takes it to a whole new level. Check out the shape of this vehicle. So instead of it having kind of this same shape, same general shape as the Equinox internal combustion engine model that is all new for the 2025 model year, the Equinox EV has this shape to it. You can see that the windshield has been moved forward. The base of the windshield has been moved forward and lower forward towards the front end. And that results in a humongous windshield. Check out the size of this thing. And as a result of that, you kind of have this very unique shape where the A-pillar is very long right there, right? And then it goes into this. And this C-pillar is something we've seen before from Chevy. We've now seen it on the 2025 Equinox, the internal combustion engine model. We've also now seen it on the 2024 Traverse. It's kind of like this shark fin style C-pillar. Love it or hate it, it is there on the Equinox EV, and I personally am a big fan of it. We're going to come back to it here in a minute. But the shape overall is unmistakable. This is not something that's going to get lost on the road. This is something that you will ultimately see, and you're going to recognize it as the Equinox EV just based on its overall shape. Here's the rear end. We're going to get to that in a minute. So what I'd like to do now is just kind of give you the detailed walkthrough. Front end, side, and then the rear. Let's take a look here at the front. First and foremost, the hood. There's some surface development taking place here, right there. Same thing taking place on this side. And then there is the spine. The spine, it's like kind of the backbone or maybe the center point of the vehicle. It runs through the hood here, through the logo, actually, through the front end, through the front fascia, all the way through all of the pieces of the front fascia, all the way down to the bottom grills. At the front here, you also have a set of headlamps, but in reality, these are not the headlamps. These are instead the turn signals, the turn signal indicators, and the daytime running lights right there. There's a light bar here. Black Chevy logo. This is black because this is the RS. LT models get a gold Chevy logo. And then the continuation of the front light bar here and to the DRL and the turn signal indicator there. Right below that are the actual headlamps. They're actually inset right here. And the other one there. So this does feature the dual tier lighting design that Chevy started with the 2019 and newer Chevy Blazer, the internal combustion engine Blazer, not the EV. And then that brings us to the grills. Well, there is this kind of mail slot grill that has kind of a faux carbon fiber finish to it. It is followed by a camera here. That's the front facing camera. Some parking sensors there and there. Red RS badge to denote the Rally Sport trim level, and then the primary grille. But the primary grille here is closed off given that this is an EV. Instead, there is a grille below it that is actually functional and that uses to cool the various electrical components under the hood. Below that, we see a kind of a splitter theme taking place here, right there, and there as well. And at the corners, we see a very interesting and very prominent front air curtain treatment. You can see that the air can go in through the hole up top here or the one below it, and then it comes out right here on the opposite side there. And this ultimately provides better aerodynamic capabilities and qualities for the Equinox EV, specifically as it relates to buffeting and the air treatment around and within the wheel wells. Notice that the lower grille, the actual functional grille right here, it has a sensor here. This is used by the Super Cruise semi-autonomous highway driver assistant. Under this hood, there is no front trunk, otherwise known as a frunk. That was a conscious choice made by the Chevy team not to include a frunk in the Equinox EV. Instead, it does have a fairly sizable rear trunk, which we will get to in a separate video. Moving around to the side, you'll see that shape that I was referring to earlier. It is an unmistakable shape. There it is. Very large windshield. In fact, the windshield is so large that Chevy needed to adopt a unique set of windshield wipers that actually open up, one like this on the driver's side, and then the other one on the passenger side opens up like this. Chevy calls these butterfly wipers. You can really appreciate the size of the windshield from inside the vehicle, where you can really just see how massive it is. And that results in impressive outward view, outward visibility as you're driving the Equinox EV. Let's continue on to the side here. So the size of this windshield, not only does it present all of those qualities, but it also results in these vanity windows right here ahead of the actual primary front window. There they are. This also delivers better visibility, and well, it's also a necessary part of the design for a windshield that is raked in this fashion. You have the charge port here. I can pop that open. There it is. There's the DC fast charge connector right there. Close that up. Black mirror caps, very nicely styled outside mirrors. And this being the RS trim, you'll see that the DLO trim, the daylight opening trim, is black. So all Equinox EVs have black DLO trim up here, but the RS model has a piano black trim running the perimeter of the DLO right there. The piano black accent also matches up quite nicely with the mirror cap, which is also finished in piano black. Now, here's something interesting that is not present on any Chevy model currently: the door handles. These door handles, in their normal position, they sit flush with the body. Now, this is not done for any kind of aerodynamic standpoint between these flush-mounted door handles and ones like these, the more traditional ones that are present on the Blazer EV. So, I have the key fob on me. Here it is. I'm going to put it in my pocket here. And I'm going to simply walk up to the Equinox EV. And what will happen? Well, there you go. The handles just presented themselves. They simply present themselves as you walk up to the car, at which point you can simply pull on it like so and open the door. Very cool, very high tech, and they do sit flush when they are closed. In fact, when the doors are closed, they're still presenting themselves like so. If you want them to go away, you can simply either hit the lock button on the key fob, or you can hit this button here, which also locks the vehicle, and that results in the door handles simply going away. I can also either unlock the vehicle, and they will also present themselves. Let me lock it back up. Or alternatively, I can put the key fob back in my pocket. And then when you have the handle deployed, you actually need to touch this part of the handle to unlock the vehicle. So the vehicle presenting the handles in this fashion does not ultimately mean that the vehicle is unlocked. Only touching this part, the black part of the handle, on the front doors, not on the rear doors. If I just do this, that doesn't do anything. Only that unlocks the actual doors. I can hit this on the front doors, so this rear part of the actual presenting handle, and that also presents them. Pushing to present, it does not work on the rear doors. So that's the door handles. You do have a set of piano black roof rails right here. Equinox badging right there with the blue E to signify that this is an electric vehicle. There is piano black trim around the wheels that then connects to this trim that runs the length of the wheelbase. There is a chrome strip. It's the only chrome piece on the exterior that I've noticed. It is present right here, runs the length of the wheelbase. Piano black, chrome, piano black. Runs through here and then connects with the rear wheel well trim along with the reflector right there. And that brings me to the wheels. Let's take a look at those. These are 21-inch wheels. As you can see, they're finished in gloss black. They look very good. These wheels are wrapped in a set of Continental cross-contact tires, size 275/40 R21. These are also TPC specs, so they were developed specifically for the Equinox. That's the whole point of TPC spec. Now, these are the black wheels on the RS. If we take a look here at the LT, you'll see that the wheels are quite a bit different. They still do have some black accenting to them, but they also have some silver and some more piano black accents on the bottom of the doors, with one small chrome piece running within that trim right there. The doors do have some interesting surface development. You can see they're kind of rounded off right here. I don't know if you can really see it here, but let me try to show it to you. So they're kind of rounded off there, but then they do have a little edge right there, and then they taper in before getting to this trim. This looks really, really good, I gotta say. As you can see from the outside, the side windows, they're actually quite large. This front window is big, and the rear window, it is split up into two sections. This primary section here, and then the secondary section that is fixed. But you can just see how big the doors are and how big the windows are as a result of that. And that, of course, then brings us to the rear end here. Let's take a look at that. So the C-pillar, like I mentioned, this is a design element that has come across from the 2025 Chevy Equinox, and then before that, the 2024 Chevy Traverse. We call it a shark fin C-pillar, but it is here. Some folks like it, others not so much, but it is present and accounted for nonetheless. You can see the surface development towards the rear end. Take a look at that. So there is quite a bit taking place here when it comes to the actual surface development of the rear hips. And that brings us right here to the tail lamps, which we'll get to in a minute. Let's take a look at the roof real quick here at the rear. So you have the comms fin up there that handle OnStar communication, 5G, AM, FM, I believe as well. Right below that, you do have this roof mounted spoiler. It actually is a hatch mounted spoiler, but it does look like it's part of the roof when you look at the Equinox EV from the side. That is present and accounted for as well. Some more piano black trim here lining the edges of the rear hatch. There's also the Chimsel, the center high mounted stop lamp here. There is also a rear wiper on this relatively short rear glass. And that brings me to what is personally my favorite design element of the Equinox, which is this here ledge. This is like an integrated spoiler of sorts, even though it's not exactly a spoiler, but it is here. It does add quite a bit of character and design flair to the Equinox EV. There it is right there. Very well done, very well executed on the design side. And that brings me to the tail lamps. Here they are. Clear, neutral density tail lamps are present and accounted for. They run the width of the lift gate, thereby emphasizing the width of this car, making it look a bit wider than it actually is. They start off in this kind of dual element treatment right over here, and then that dual element treatment continues into the rear hatch before starting to split up into this kind of bar-like pattern that becomes shorter and thinner as it gets closer to the Chevy bow tie, and then the reverse of that happens on the other side. Very, very attractive tail lamps in my opinion. Black bow tie, just like at the front. Again, this is on the RS. The LT, as I mentioned, has a gold bow tie right there. Equinox badging with the blue E, just like on the doors that I mentioned earlier. RS badging just like at the front. Some surface development taking place here. You can kind of see it better from this angle where you have this taking place. This all looks and works really well overall. And then you have this pattern here. This is the same kind of pattern that we saw at the front that closes off the grille. And then at the bottom, you kind of have this faux diffuser situation taking place. It actually looks really good. And it does have that faux carbon fiber theme as well, just like at the front, that male slot grille. You have this kind of pattern on it here, and it just looks good in general. So there you have it, the 2024 Chevy Equinox EV RS. This vehicle looks absolutely stunning. And I say this because I've been following the design, the development, and the overall bringing to market of this vehicle since, I don't know, for about the last 2 years or so, ever since we've seen our first prototypes at gmauthority.com. And when Chevy revealed the Equinox EV, I wasn't really all that impressed, I must admit. I wasn't all that impressed with the way it looked. I wasn't all that impressed with the way it kind of presented itself. It kind of looked like just another, Econobox. But now that I've seen it in person, I've been able to actually drive it. I've been able to spend some time with it, feel it out, and just look at the overall design in person on the road. I have to say, this vehicle, it looks very good. I'm actually going to consider buying one for myself this year. That's how good this vehicle drives and how good it also looks. For gmauthority.com and the MOTROLIX Network, I'm Alex Luft. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
MOTROLIX.